The corporation confirmed today it is temporarily laying off some employees. The CBC's Mark Carcassol has more details on this. So, Mark, what do we know?
Well, it's the first confirmation we've got from Canada Post that this is in fact happening. The Canadian Union of Postal Workers had heard through workers that something like this was happening earlier this week, and they'd put out a notice earlier this week telling workers not to worry about it. It was a scare tactic, but to take any information down anyway, just in case they did have to file for EI benefits, but that they didn't really think that this was a thing to take seriously. Today, Canada Post sent a statement to CBC News confirming they are indeed laying off people. They say the layoffs are temporary. Our business has been significantly impacted leading up to and throughout this labor disruption. We've taken steps to adjust our operations. That means the previously expired collective agreements no longer apply, and their terms and conditions of employment for employees have therefore changed. The interesting thing in this is that earlier on in that statement, they cite the Canada Labour Code as allowing them to do that. The very same Canada Labour Code that the union is citing as protecting their workers against things like this. Now, CUPW on their website, to sort of comfort workers, had posted Section 94.3 of the Canada Labour Code on their website, which seems to imply that an employer, in this case Canada Post, is not able to lay people off in any way when they are on a legal strike, which is the case here. So they're both quoting the same labor code, different clauses from it, obviously, which means that as if this dispute hasn't been tied up in enough already, enough emotion and enough acrimony, now this does potentially lend itself to legal challenges. CUPW at this point is not saying anything, but we've been talking about this story and there seems to be new developments every day, so I wouldn't be surprised if in the next couple days we hear something more from CUPW. We'll see how that goes. In the meantime, the Canadian mail user is out there sort of stuck in the middle of it. There are people who have gifts to send out, small businesses obviously who have packages to send out, people who have purchased from those small businesses and are waiting for their packages. It's more than just letters, obviously. Jan Simpson is the national president of CUPW. She says she understands the hardship caused by this strike. However, she's encouraging people to think about her workers and their needs.
Postal workers have fallen behind. And during the pandemic, we did what was called a 2-year renewal with Canada Post. And they said that during this round of bargaining, they would help us catch up. Postal workers have fallen far behind, as many people within the society have fallen behind. We've seen inflation go through the roof. So for us, it's around negotiating fair collective agreements that also, fix the problems that workers are having.
As part of that collective agreement, workers are requesting, obviously, raises, better working conditions, and the real sticking point seems to be around weekend delivery. The union seems to feel as though the company can achieve weekend delivery with a full-time workforce, off-shifting people, whatever the case may be. They say Canada Post is trying to get weekend delivery done by part-time workers who, in some cases, would get no more than 8 hours a week. Weekend delivery is obviously very important to Canada Post because they have to compete with companies like Purolator and FedEx, but they differ on how to do that. Meanwhile, Canada Post is now more than 10 million parcels behind. So the longer this goes, the worse things get, Andrew.
All right, Mark, thank you. CBC's Mark Carcassol.